So like I said, this learning has actually nothing to do with the Parsha.
Oh.
In 11 days from now, there's going to be 120 years, the Rebbe's birthday. So the person who taught us what is a Chassid was the Rebbe, as we're going to learn today. And the question we're going to tackle is, what is a Chassid? What does it mean to be a Chassid? So, anyone wants to start? What do you think a Chassid is?
Somebody who, I would say, like a Benoni, in a way.
A Benoni and a Chassid, I know a lot of Chassidim, I don't know anybody who's a Benoni. Not one of them is a Benoni.
Okay.
Aryeh, what do you...
Maybe a Chassid is a guy that worries more about the other people than himself.
Oh, maybe a Chassid is somebody who worries more about other than himself. Very good. We're going to talk about that. That's actually going to be part of the thing that we're going to discuss. It's very good that you're bringing. A lot of people think a Chassid is a guy with a long beard and he wears a black. But that's not necessarily, because in Israel you've got a lot of religious people who are not Chassidim, they have a long beard and they wear black. So we need to understand exactly what is a Chassid, and the person to tell us what is a Chassid is probably the best person to ask is a Rebbe.
Okay.
So we have over here a Sicha from the Rebbe.
It comes from the word Chesed, right? Chassid.
Oh, so some say Chassid come from kindness, from the same thing. And we're going to discuss all of this, and we're going to see inside. Okay. So let's look in the beginning. בהתוועדות הקשורה עם חודש תמוז, with a bringing that has to do with the month of Tammuz, כאן באמריקה, over here in America, סיפר בעל הגאולה, this is the Rebbe, he's saying that the previous Rebbe said this. סיפר בעל הגאולה והשמחה, אודות מסיבה שנערכה אצל אביו, so the Friedrich Rebbe, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe tells us, is talking about a meal that he had in his father's home, which means the Rebbe Rashab. So this is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. He's talking about, he remembers as a child a meal by his father.
His grandfather.
By the Friedrich Rebbe's father.
Okay, so but this is his grandfather actually, or no?
No. The Rebbe is from different line.
Oh, because they were,
yeah.
okay. What the same line?
אחד החסידים שאל את אדמו"ר נשמתו. So in the meal, one of the Chassidim came to the Rebbe Rashab and he asked him, Ma'u Chassid? He says, I want to understand. Everybody says Chassidim. I'm a Chassid. I don't know what a Chassid is. I don't know what it means. Tell me, what is it? What am I supposed to do as a Chassid? What's the difference between me and the other religious guy over there? Ma'u Chassid? והשיב אדמו"ר נשמתו הינם, and the Rebbe Rashab answered, Chassid hu panasai. A Chassid is a lamplighter. What's a lamplighter? Today we don't have lamplighters. In the old times, there used to be kerosene lamps in the street, and somebody used to go every night, he poured oil inside, they poured kerosene, and he used to light them. That was his job. This is a lamplighter. האיש שהולך ברחובות, the man that walks in the street, להדליק פנסי העיר, to light the torches of the city. By the way, this story that we're going to be learning looks like a regular story you say to a kid, but actually we're going to learn this story in depth, just like Torah. This story is so deep that we need to understand it to the depth of it, and that's what the Rebbe is going to explain. So it says, פעם היו הסדר שברחובות העיר, היו קבועים פנסים. There was, in the old times, in the streets, there were lamps, והיה איש ממונה להדליק את הפנסים לבנות ערב, and a man would be appointed to light up all these lamps when evening came. בלכתו עם מקל ארוך, what did you, he had a big stick, long stick, כיוון שהפנסים היו קבועים במקום גבוה, because the lights were up high, שבראשו דולקת אש, and in the head there used to be a fire. שעל ידו היה מדליק את הפנסים. Through it he used to light all the lights. כדי להאיר את חשכת הלילה, so that the night is going to be lit. ואיש זה היה נקרא פנסאי, and this man used to be called the lamplighter. So again, the Rebbe Rashab says a Chassid is a lamplighter. וזהו חסיד. So this is what a Chassid is. המשיך כבוד קדושת אדמו"ר, שמתהלך עם מקל ארוך שבראשו דולקת אש, he walks around with a long stick, and in the head of the stick there's fire, ויודע שהאש אינו שלו. First thing the Chassid knows is that the fire did not come from him. He's not the fire. That's the first thing he knows. אלא, but in other words, his job is to take fire for somewhere else, and to transform it to the lamp. אלא שתפקידו להדליק על ידי האש את כל הפנסים. But his job is to take this fire and light all the torches, all the lights. And so that was the story that he heard. And then he said the conversation continued. ושאל החסיד, the Chassid asked him, ואם הפנס נמצא במדבר שמן, and if this light is found in the middle of the desert, strange question. Obviously, we don't understand what we think the story is. The question is much deeper than we think. What do you mean in the middle of the desert? Where do you find lamps in the middle of the desert? והשיב כבוד קבוצת אדמו"ר נשמתו עדן, so the Rebbe Rashab answered, גם אז צריך להדליק את הפנס. It says, over there you also need to light the torch. So he says, what do you mean, over there in the desert to light? Who cares? There's nobody there to see. Why do you need to light? And then it says, שיראו, it says, what's the advantage? שיראו שזהו מדבר שומם. So that people are going to see that there's nothing there. So that's why that doesn't make sense, but continue. והוסיף, and then he continued and he says one more thing. וגם שהמדבר השומם יתבייש מפני הפנס. We also want the desert to be ashamed because of the light. Strange conversation. Continued. And the Chassid wasn't happy. And he continued to ask. והמשיך החסיד לשאול, he continued to ask, ומה אם הפנס נמצא בים? And what if this torch, if this light can be found in the middle of the sea? So the answer should be, you know what, you take a boat, go to the middle of the sea and light it, right? Listen to the answer. והשיב כבוד קבוצת אדמו"ר נשמתו עדן, and the Rebbe Rashab answered, צריכים להפשיט את הלבושים, it says you have to take off your clothing, don't take a boat, take off all your clothing, לקפוץ למים, jump into the sea, ולהדליק את הפנס, and then light the light.
אז תדליק אותו למים.
Exactly. So we don't understand what's going on over here. So let's continue. וחזר החסיד ושאל, after all this conversation, the Chassid again asked the question to Rebbe Rashab, האם אכן זהו חסיד? Says, Rabbi, really, this is what a Chassid is? והרהר כבוד קבוצת משמעות עדן, so the Rebbe Rashab thought about it, ולאחרי שחשב, he thought about it for a long time, and after he thought about it for a long time, he answered, כן, זהו חסיד. Yes, this is what a Chassid is. והוסיף החסיד לומר, and then the Chassid continues, says, I still have a problem. What's my problem? אינני רואה פנסים. It says, my problem is I don't see lights. I don't see lights. והשיב לו, כבוד קבוצת אדמו"ר נשמתו עדן, לפי שאינך פנסי. The reason why you don't see lights is because you're not a lamplighter.
In other words, you're not a Chassid.
You're not a lamplighter. Yeah, exactly. You don't see lights, so you're not a lighter. ושאל החסיד, so the Chassid continued to say, כיצד נעשים פנסי? Okay, I want to become a lamplighter. I want to see lights. So say, והשיב, כבוד קבוצת נשמתו עדן, so Rebbe Rashab answered, you want to be a lamplighter? I'll give you a recipe to be a lamplighter. So now we're going to see the recipe of being a Chassid. יש להתחיל מעצמו. You have to start with yourself. לצאת מההגשמה, to go out from your physicality. In other words, don't see this world in a physical manner anymore. Become a spiritual person. ולרחוץ את עצמו. That's not enough. There's still the blemish of all your life that you were physical. You need to wash this blemish away.
What do you mean לצאת מההגשמה?
To go out of your physicality. הגשמה מגשם, מהגשמיות. ואז רואים אצל הזולת את הפנס, and then you'll be able to see lights. Once you take care of yourself, then you'll be able to see lights. מי שבעצמו בגושם, but he says somebody who by himself is physical, רואה הגשמה, he sees only the physical world. כאשר מתעדנים, when the person is going to refine himself, אזי רואים גם אצל הזולת עדינות. Then you're going to see the lights by the other people. You know, it reminds me a story, just to come into perspective. There was once Oh, forget the story. Say it some other time. Maybe when we get to it. עד כאן הוא הסיפור שסיפר הרבי הנשיא. This is what the Friedrich Rebbe heard when he was a young boy sitting in his father's place, in his father's house. He was a young boy when he heard it. מה ששמע מאביו הנשיא אודות דברי תשובתו לחסיד. This is what his father says to the Chassid. We are on page 5. So now the Rebbe is going to start to explain to us what was this whole conversation between the Rebbe and the Chassid. What were they discussing? So he says like this. Panas, on page 5. What's the light? The light, or the lamp, kayal nishmato shel kol echad miYisrael. This is the soul of each and every Jew. How do we know this? כמו שכתוב, just like it's written, ner havaya nishmat adam. It says the candles of God is the soul of man. So our soul is the lamp. דכיוון שנפש השנית בישראל היא חלק אלוקה ממעל ממש, since every Jew has a godly soul, נמצא שנשמת אדם היא חלק מההוויה. We find that the soul of man is part of God. ולכן נקראת נר הוויה. But therefore it's called the candle of God. What's the problem? אומנם נר פנס זה, the problem is that by us, usually this lamp is not lit. It doesn't shine. In other words, our godly soul doesn't shine. In every day we go through, what shines? The animal soul shines. The godly soul is not shining. It's not telling us what to do. We don't listen to it. It doesn't make everything clear. That lamp. אומנם נר פנס זה, this torch, this lamp, יכול להיות נר הדולק ומאיר. There's two possibilities for it. Everybody has a candle. What's the problem? By some people the candle is lit, and by some key people the candle is extinguished. או נר שאינו דולק ומאיר, or a candle that is not lit. ששניהם נקראים בשם נר. They're both called the lamp. A lamp is a lamp. You don't know if it's lit or not lit. Sometimes a lamp is lit, sometimes a lamp is not lit. A candle is a candle. והחילוק ביניהם. What's the difference between them? נר הדולק ומאיר, if the candle is lit, what does it do? If your soul is alive, your soul is lit, your godly soul is lit, ממלא את תפקידו שבשבילו נבראת מציאות נר בעולם. Then you're going to see what you hear down here in this world. You see the light, like they say. You see the reason why you came down into the world. You see what you need to do every second. שנעשה אור גם אצל הזולת. And not only you see, you know who also sees? People that are around you. They're also going to see. ואילו קודם שמדליקים את הנר, but before you lit your candle, like our candle now is extinguished, we don't see godliness throughout the day. יש בו כל העניינים בכוח, so in potential the candle can light, but actually it's not lit. אבל בפועל אין מזה שום דבר. But in actuality there's nothing. If it's not lit, there's nothing. מה שיש בכוח אין לזולת תועלת מזה. The fact that it's in potential there doesn't help anybody. Not you, nor other people. So you're a good person potentially. So what? What does the world gain from the fact that you're a good person potentially? Nothing. And then, יכול להיות נר שיש בו את כל התכונות של נר. There can be a candle that has all the properties of a candle, of a lamp, אלא שעדיין אינו דולק, but still he is not lit. והיינו, שלעצמו יכול להיות שיש לו נשמה גדולה ביותר. So let's understand what does it mean. It's possible that the person you're talking to and you're trying to light, or yourself you're trying to light, has an enormous candle. The problem is not in the candle. The problem that nobody ever lit this candle. It's not a light. So you see somebody who doesn't have a candle, and you think to yourself, you know what, his candle is small. He says, no, you don't know what a candle is. Go light it.
There's no light.
Because there's no light. After you light it, you'll be able to know how big it is or how small it is. אבל על ידו לא נעשה אור אצל זולת. It means there can be a person who has an enormous candle, The only problem, you don't see the candle, you don't see the godliness in him because nobody ever lit it. It's completely extinguished. It was never alive. He has the potential, but he never accomplished.
Does somebody else have to light it, or can he light it himself?
Very good. That's what a lamplighter is. What's the job of a lamplighter? What's the job of a chassid?
A chassid lights other people's lights.
Oh!
But he has to be lit up first.
Oh! Very good. In other words, the chassid doesn't have the light either.
If the Chassid doesn't have the light, he has a problem. He
That's
can't light the panasim.
That's exactly the question of the chassid. I don't see the candles. So he says, the lamplighter. So he asked him, how can I become a lamplighter? We're going to get to that. The story we'll have
Your own light first.
That's right. We'll have to get in stages. We're going to learn to go throughout the story. וכיוון שישנם נרות פנסים כאלו, and since there's candle, שמאיזה סיבה שתהיה אינם דולקים עדיין, that for some reason there's not lit yet, ישנו מי שתפקידו ללך ולהדליק את הפנסים. There's somebody's job, whose job is to go out into this world, the lamplighter, to go and light all these candles. That's the job. That's what a chassid is supposed to do.
Could be that they're missing oil, maybe? Can you put oil?
No, the lamp, the light is complete. It's already ready. All it's missing
The light, the ash.
is the ash. Very good.
The fire.
Very good. So the Rebbe continues on page 6. וזהו עניינו של חסיד. This is what a chassid is. לכאורה יכול לחשוב. And now he's going to tell us. If this is what a chassid is, it sounds like this is what everybody should do. Not just a chassid, a Jew. Why he says a chassid? He says every religious Jew, that's his job. So he says no, it's against the Torah. Now he's going to say everything I said until now is wrong.
Why it's against the Torah?
Let's look inside. לכאורה יכול לחשוב, it says, what could you have thought? די שאפקיע את עצמי. It says it's enough for me to take care of myself. How is it my job to make sure that he's okay? First of all, my job is to make sure that who's okay? Me. After I'll be the way I'm supposed to be, then maybe I can go and tell him what to do. But is it my job to go tell him what to do when I know by myself my light is not lit? My light is not lit. So why should I go running, light everybody else's light before I light my own light? Yeah? הלוואי שימלא את כל מה שהותר עליו. It says, first of all, I need to make sure that I have to do everything. Do I do all 613 commandments all the time? Am I good at it? Yeah? It says, I wish I would do that. בנוגע לעצמו, בקיום רמ"ח מצוות עשה ושס"ה מצוות לא תעשה. Do I keep all 248 positive commandments and all 365 negative commandments the way I'm supposed to keep them? Obviously not. ואף על פי כן אומרים לו, nevertheless, you tell me, שעליו לחפש פנס שאינו מואר. Now I have to go out into the field to look for a light which is not lit, ולהדליק אותו, and to light it. למרות העובדה שבהשקפה ראשונה it says, so when you look at this fact, what is my responsibility? To take care of myself first or to take care of the other person first? When you go on a plane, right, and the masks come down, what do they tell you to put on first? That's right. First of all, make sure you're alive. Then you can take care of the other guy. Otherwise, you're both going to be dead. Right? Mm-hmm. So it says, okay. בא להימלט. So it says, שבשעה שחושב אודות הזולת, יכול לחשוב גם על עצמו. It says, at the time it takes me to think about somebody else, I can think about me. Why should I think about somebody else when my responsibility is first of all to me? כיצד ותקן למלך חסרונותיו? Am I perfect yet? I'm not perfect. So I should work on whom? On myself, not on him. כיוון שעסוק הוא במחשבתו על הזולת, now that you tell me to go be a lamplighter, I have to go light up other people, נמצא שצריך לוותר על טובת עצמו. Therefore, I'm not working on whom? On myself. So I'm not being a good Jew. I'm not being the best Jew I could be by taking the time out to go and work on somebody else. ובפרט, and especially, and this is the most important part, there's a halachic term that's called bari v'shema bari adif. What does it mean? If you have something that is not in doubt, that is for sure, and something that is in doubt, It's always preferable to go for the for sure than for doubt. So over here he tells you, look at the logic. שטובתו של הזולת מוטלת בספק. If you're going to influence another person, that's a doubt. You can talk sometimes for 20 years to a person, and he's with his own. He does whatever he wants. He doesn't listen. He doesn't care. And you put all your energy for 20 years. All these 20 years you put in the other person, you could have put it in yourself.
And be prosper.
And it says, so it's a doubt whether I can change him. But then it says, it's not a doubt whether you can change yourself. It says, why is that not a doubt? ואילו עבודתו עם עצמו היא בגדר ודאי. It says, when you walk with yourself, it's a for sure you're going to see a return. How? הזולת הוא בעל הבחירה, because the other person has free choice. ועד שהקדוש ברוך הוא בעצמו כביכול אומר לו, הוא בחרת בחיים. It says, God gave him free choice. He told him, you can choose life if you want. You should choose life. But you cannot make him choose life. There's only one person you can make do stuff. Yourself. You cannot make him do it. כשעליו לבחור בעצמו, הקדוש ברוך הוא רק עוזרו. God only helps him. אבל הבחירה עצמה היא בידו. And if he doesn't choose to change, he's never going to change. You chose to change. You wake up in the morning and you chose, I'm going to change. ועל אחת כמה וכמה כאשר בא אליו יהודי לפעול עליו ולהדליק את נשמתו, הרי להיות בעל בחירה ספק הדבר משמע דבריו אם לא. So when you go out and you try to influence another Jew, it's a big doubt whether he's going to listen to you, whether he doesn't going to listen to you. And you're going to spend 100 hours in this guy, and you could have spent this 100 hours within yourself, and then for sure you would have changed.
And here you, in a way, wasting your time.
Wasting your time?
Quote unquote.
No. Wasting your time. It's a good, I like it. It's even better. His job will be to explain how come it's not wasting your time. But right now the answer is it is wasting your time. Yeah. ואילו בנוגע לעבודתו עם עצמו, and when it comes to the service with himself, הרי ישנה הבטחה, he has a promise from God. בא להתאר מסיים אותו. God says, if I see you trying to change, I will help you. He is not trying. That's why I cannot control him, but I can control me. Yeah. So we're on page 7 on top. So as long as I'm trying, היינו, שאם רק רוצה בכך, which means that if he only wants it, עוזר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא לנצח במלחמת היצר הרע. God is going to help you to win the war against your evil inclination. באמרו, when God says, בראתי יצר הרע, God says, I created the evil inclination, ובראתי לו תבלין, and I created for him a medicine, an antidote. What's the antidote? learning Torah. ולכל אחד ניתן התבלין, each one of us got the antidote, והאפשרות לנצח את היצר הרע. The possibility to win against his evil inclination. אם רק ירצה בכך באמת, if he really puts his energy into it. וכפי שאמרו חכמינו ז"ל, just like our sages says, יגעתי ומצאתי. It says, if you work hard, God is guaranteeing you that you're going to find. It's a guarantee when it comes to Torah. ויתרה מזה, יגעתי ולא מצאתי, אל תאמין. And if a person says that I worked hard and I didn't find, that means what? That you didn't work hard. It is impossible. A person who puts energy in himself is going to see fruits. A person who puts energy in somebody else, it does not guarantee. היינו שאין כלל מציאות כזו, זוהי ראיה שלא תגע עד צרכו. Which means that a person, if he says I was successful and I didn't work hard, don't believe him. ואם כן, if this is so, נוסף לכך שלכאורה אין לו ללך לחפש להדליק את הנר של הזולת. So according to this, you shouldn't go out and looking for lights by other people and spend your time running in the streets trying to light other people. בא בשעה שיכול לעסוק לעצמו, at the time that you can actually improve yourself. You can make yourself a better Jew. בגלל שאדם קרוב אצל עצמו, it says a person by himself, he knows himself. It says, וקשות עצמך ואחר כך קשות אחרים. It says, you want to influence the world? First of all, influence yourself. You change yourself. You beautify yourself. Then go out to beautify other people. When you see that you're a Beinoni, let's say, then you can go out to beautify other people. Until then, what are you doing? Running around helping people.
Wasting your time.
Help yourself first. מתווסף גם החילוק שבין ספק לוודאי. And then, on top of that, we're going to see what we said in the beginning. Between bari לשמה. It says, one is guaranteed, and one of them is a doubt. הפעולה היא הזולת מוטלת בספק. The fact, if you're going to influence the other person, that's under doubt. ואילו בנוגע לעצמו, when it comes to yourself, יצליח בוודאי. Then it is a for sure. ואם כן, so if this is so, הייתכן לוותר על טובת עצמו? So over here that tells you, forget about yourself, בגלל החשבון פן ואולי תהיה טובה לזולת, because maybe you're going to influence the other. Over here for sure I'm going to get the money. Over there, nothing is sure. It's all up to the other guy. So what are you going to...
And this is halacha if you have a sure thing and...
Sure, in everything. Yeah? In every case when it comes to halacha, somebody comes to court and says, I know for sure this has happened. And somebody else comes to court, he says, I'm not sure, maybe he's right, maybe he's not. Who's the judge going to listen to? He says, you're not sure, he's sure, we're going to go with the guy who's sure. That's in everything, this is the way. We are on page 8 at the top. Page 8 at the top. והמענה לזה, and the answer for this, שזהו גדרו של חסיד. So this was the question of the Chassid. The Chassid was asking the Rebbe Rashab, says, what do you mean, leave me? Leave. I have a responsibility towards me to be a good Jew. You're telling me to stop this responsibility and go run after other Jews and like them, which is doubtful if I'll be able to. If I'm going to influence myself, that's a for sure. So it says, the Rebbe answers, yes, this is what a Chassid is. A Chassid leaves himself, and he's a lamplighter. He goes out and lights other candles instead of lighting himself. So ידוע סיפור החסידים ששאלו אצל רבנו הזקן מהו חסיד. So let's go to a previous generation, 4 generations before that. Yes?
When you say lighting, what it means to me is that person is finding joy in their mitzvah, in doing their mitzvahs. They're doing their mitzvahs with joy. Is that what being lit up means?
It's part of it, very good.
Okay.
For every person it's going to be a little bit different. But what it means is where his godly soul is going to be revealed. That's lighting. Usually the godly soul is not revealed, you don't see it throughout the day. Lighting it is when you feel that the godly soul is talking to me. Sometimes it's joy in mitzvahs. It depends on the person. It can manifest in many ways.
Okay, I got you.
Okay? So we're going to go to start with this Chassid problem now, from the first generation to the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe was asked the same question, and the Alter Rebbe goes to the Gemara to answer it.
This is the time of the Chassidim, really.
The big Chassidim, that's right. ידוע סיפור החסידים ששאלו אצל רבנו הזקן מהו חסיד. So we're going to go to understand this even a little bit before that. So at the time of the Alter Rebbe, they asked the Alter Rebbe, what is a chassid? Same question. והשיב, and he answered, שחסיד הוא מי שמוותר על טובת עצמו כדי לעשות טובה לזולת. That a chassid is what Arya said in the beginning. Somebody who doesn't take care of himself, he takes care of somebody else first. In other words, it's on the plane, 2 things coming down. He says, you take yours first, and I'll take mine second. Against what we say, what is supposed to be. What is supposed to be. If you're going to save him, and that's even in the case that if you put the mask on him, it's 50-50. If you put the mask on yourself, it's 100%. And still a chassid will go and put on him, maybe he will die, it doesn't matter. And even though over there it's 50-50.
Like a mother.
Like a mother. That's right.
That's how a mother is.
But that's against the law.
Or a father.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's against the law, so we need to understand that. מי שמוותר על טובת עצמו כדי לעשות טובה לזולת. Somebody who doesn't take care of himself in order to do a favor for somebody else. והביא ראיה לדבר מנגד לתורה. The Alter Rebbe all the time says, this is not Chassidus, this is not Kabbalah, I'm going to give you an example from the Gemara itself. The Gemara says it. Why does the Gemara says this is what a Chassid? מובא בגמרא, ג' דברים נאמרו בציפורניים. There are three things that it comes to nails. What are the three things it comes to nails? It says, Sorfan Chassid. A Chassid, this is the Gemara said. A Chassid burns nails. Tzaddik, Sorfan Chassid. Kovran Beinoni. I think it's Kovran Tzaddik. A righteous person, that's good. A righteous person buries them. Zorkan Rasha, a person who's a Rasha throws them. So let's just a quick introduction for nails. A lot of people don't know that. A couple of rules when it comes to cutting nails. One is not allowed to cut hand nails and feet in the same day. So you have to separate the days where you cut your hand nails and the feet. Also another thing, one is not allowed to cut nails on Thursday. No cutting nails on Thursday. Not to cut your nails. Okay. Yeah. Some other time we're going to explain what's a Thursday. It has to do with Shabbos. Some other time. Not cutting nails on Thursday.
On a Thursday.
No cutting nails on a Thursday. Another thing, when you cut the nails, there's a way to cut it. Yeah. It's not by order. There's a way. This one. It has to go by order. Look in the Shulchan Aruch, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, will tell you exactly the order. Yeah, there's many things. Besides that, there's this story that the Gemara brings. So let's look inside in the Gemara and try to understand it. This is the Gemara itself, and we're going to understand from the story of the nails what is the Chassid. ועוד אמר רבי שמעון בן יוחאי, רבי שמעון בן יוחאי said, כי יש סכנה באדם, there is a danger in a person, הנוטל ציפורניו, who cuts off his nails, וזורקן לרשות הרבים, and throws him to the public domain. Says, what is dangerous? Throwing nails in the public domain? והסבר הדבר. Says, this is what happens. It says like this. There are 600,000 souls in the world. Right? Jews have 600,000 souls. So the question that immediately you should ask is, says, Rabbi, you're talking nonsense, it's impossible. So it says, why is it impossible? Because Rabbi, right now there's 7 million Jews in the world, maybe 8 million Jews in the world, maybe more, right? So if there's 8 million Jews in the world, how can there be 600,000 souls? Obviously there's more than 600,000 souls. So the answer is there's 600,000 souls, main souls, and sometimes you can have 2 or 3 people who share the same soul, who are from the same soul. So it says like this, מפני שאישה מעוברת, if a woman is pregnant, עלולה תהיה עוברת מעליהן, she can pass above these nails, she can step on one of these nails, and if your soul and the baby's soul in her stomach is the same soul, then there's a danger, not for sure, then there's a danger that she might lose the baby. So look at the chance. It's 1 in 600,000 that you guys are the same. And then, it's not for sure. Maybe it can happen. That if you're from the same throne, then it's a... It's possible that she's going to lose the baby because of it. It's hardly any chances, right? But it says that's why. It says you should never throw them into the public domain. So what should you do with them? So let's continue. Shanu chachamim. So the sage says, שלושה דברים נאמרו בנטילת הציפורניים. There are 3 things that people used to do when they took care of the nails. Hasorfan, the one who burns them, הרי הוא חסיד. He's a chassid. Why is he called a chassid? שמכלה אותם לגמרי, because he completely destroys them. הקוברן, the one who buries them, so she's not going to walk over them. So he buries them. הרי הוא בדרגה פחותה ממנו. He's on a lower level. Why? ואינו אלא צדיק. He's only called righteous, but not a chassid.
Chassid is higher than righteous?
That's what he says over here.
I thought righteous was the highest level.
Oh, so here you learn something new. He's only righteous. שייתכן ויתגלו ויעברו עליהם. It says, why is only righteous? Because it says it's possible that they're going to come the wind, come the rain, and wash it up from the ground, and then it's going to come up, and then a chance of 1 to 600,000, and then maybe. But there's a chance that it can happen, 1 in a billion, 1 in 50 billion, I don't know how much. ואילו הזורקן סתם הרי הוא רשע. But the one who throws them, he's a rasha. The question is, that we have to ask ourselves, but I don't understand. Why isn't the righteous act like a chassid? So why is it so hard to burn the nails? He has to go out into the yard, dig a hole, put it in the hole, cover it. It's not against halacha to burn them. No. So why doesn't he burn it? So let's continue. So Fan Chassid says, you know why the righteous person doesn't burn the nails? He doesn't burn the nails because burning the nails blemishes your soul. That's why he doesn't. Burning your nails, it blemishes your soul. So let's look inside.
Wow.
So Fan Chassid, Piresh Aruch explains, Mishum desrefat ציפורניים, because when you burn your nails, or כל דבר שהוא מגופו, or any other part of your body, hair, whatever it is, מזיק לו, puts you on, damages you. It says it damages the person. So what does a chassid do? A chassid is someone that damages himself
in order not to damage the people.
Oh, but
God forbid some baby or this.
And what's the chance? Nothing.
Slim, very slim. I mean,
1 in a billion. I don't know. Let's put it between me and you. But even just because there is a chance, I don't care what the chance is. 1 in a billion, a chassid doesn't take the chance. He's willing to harm himself for the benefit of the other. That's the idea. וגם מסריח לו בשעת שריפה, אין כך מכך חסיד. So this is the way of a chassid. A chassid is willing to harm himself. A tzaddik did everything in his power, so she won't work on it. He's going to say, what, do I need to worry? A billion? I don't need to worry. As long as I make sure that everything is good, it's good.
No,
so why he doesn't
want to make himself damage?
Oh, the reason why he doesn't burn it is because he says, look how stupid the chassid is, he's thinking. If it's going to happen to the lady that's going to go over, it's a chance 1 in a billion. It's just theoretical. It's never going to happen. And if I'm going to damage myself, that's 100%. So why damage myself 100%? Then take a chance, a billion, I might hurt somebody else. You're crazy. It's craziness. You're not allowed to do that. He's going to shout the other guy. This is the explanation according to whom? To the Alter Rebbe. So let's continue with the Rebbe.
To the Gemara.
To the Gemara. The Alter Rebbe explains the Gemara. That's right. Zorkan Rasha, he says, the one who throws it is a Rasha, מפני שהאישה מעוברת, עוברת עליה ומפלת רחמנא ליצלן, because she is in danger to lose her baby. קוברן אינו רשע. The one who buries them is not an evil person. Page 9, second paragraph. כיוון שכיסה את הציפורניים, since he did everything in his power, he covered the nails, אבל אף על פי כן אין זה תכלית השלימות, but it's not complete. שלכן נקרא רק צדיק ולא חסיד. That's why we only call him righteous, but not a chassid. כיוון שעדיין יש מקום לחשוש שמא יתגלו, because you're still worried that there's a chance, 1 in a billion that they're going to get revealed, and another 1 in a billion that they're going to send the shama, and another 1 in a billion it's actually going to happen. ורק כאשר שורפן, and only when the chassid burns them, אין לחשוש שמא יתגלו. You're not worried that they can be revealed. אמנם בשריפת הציפורניים יש חיסרון, but when you burn the nails, now you're going to have a problem. ששריפת ציפורן, וכן כל דבר בא מן האדם, אז האדם, it's going to hurt the person who burns it. והחילוק הוא, and here is the division, שהחיסרון בשריפת ציפורניים הוא זה נזק שנגרם לו. It says, the blemish that happens when a person burns the nails is a blemish that you're making to yourself. ואילו החיסרון שבהיעדר שריפתם, we're on page 9 all the way in the bottom, last paragraph, and the blemish that when you don't burn them, you just bury them, you damage whom? You damage somebody else. הוא נזק שנגרם לזולת. ועוד זאת, and it's not a real damage, it's only a doubt, and the doubt is a tiny doubt. Shema yitgalu. It says maybe they're going to be, and maybe she's going to go over them, and maybe you're from the same neshama. How many doubts over there?
Very slim.
ואף על פי כן, and nevertheless, we're on page 10 on the top, Chassid sorfan, a Chassid burns them, ולכן הוא חסיד, and therefore we call him a Chassid, שמחמיר לשורפם, he goes out of the way to burn them, אף על פי גב שמזיק לו, even though he is going to get damaged. היינו שמוותר על טובת עצמו בשביל טובת הזולת, אפילו במקום של ספק בלבד. Like we said, he's willing to endanger himself, even for sure, than a doubt on somebody else. וזהו תוכן מענה, the Rebbe Rashab, שחסיד הוא פנסאי. This is what the Rebbe Rashab says, חסיד is a lamplighter. What is a lamplighter? שהולך ומשתדל להדליק את הפנס של הזולת. Think about the young couple who lives Crown Heights, a religious place, and they go out to China, to some city. And over there in China, they have a minyan once a year, maybe once a year in Yom Kippur. And you sometimes not even once a year in Yom Kippur. They never have a minyan. And nevertheless, he goes and he stays over there. His kids don't have any education. His kids don't have schooling. His kids don't have friends. His kids don't have something. And he's willing to be there. Why? Because there's some Jews in China who needs him over there to make sure. So he says to himself, what are you, crazy? You're endangering your wife. You're endangering your children. What, your children don't need Jewish education? Your children don't need this? Your children do. You're endangering yourself, your family, your own whole being as being a Jewish. You don't get a minyan. You don't go do anything. You don't have a Jewish life over there. And you're in danger just to bring light into that place. That's what the Chassid is. Mm-hmm. This is what the Rebbe Rashab tells the Chassid when he asks him. Lamrot, and he says, and those guys, are they going to become religious?
Who knows?
Who knows? Most of the time you can be there for 30 years, nobody becomes religious, nobody puts on tefillin, nobody does anything. It doesn't matter. למרות שיש להסתפק אם הזולת יסכים ויניח להידלק. The guys in China, are they going to become a light or not? No, there's no guarantees. אף על פי שבשעת מעשה צריך לנתק את עצמו מהעניינים שלו, and he instead of learning Torah, instead of learning Gemara, instead of improving himself, what does he do all day long? He runs, he opens a restaurant, he makes sure this guy gets that. He has got nothing to do with Judaism. His entire day is helping other people with things that, what am I doing here? After a while he's going to say. אינו יכול לחשוב אפילו עדות תיקון דבר בתור רצון נגד עצמו. He doesn't have time to take care of himself because he's so busy trying to light those other people. He says, who says you're not to do such a thing? אך כאן נשאלת שאלה נוספת. Page 11. The Rebbe comes and he continues with the questions. You know how the Rebbe is going to make it difficult. ידוע הכלל שהתורה על הרוב תדבר. There's a rule that says that the Torah talks only to the majority. היינו, שציווי התורה נקבעו בהתאם למעמד ומצב של רוב בני ישראל. It says, when does the Torah tell you to go out and light candles? It tells you about normal people that there's still a 50-50 possibility, those you go out to light. ובענייננו, רוב בני ישראל, כאשר באים אליהם ומדברים מהם עדות ענייני יהדות, מתעוררים מהם. The majority of people, you're talking to them about Judaism, maybe they're not going to become Chassidim the next day, but they improve, they come to classes, they start keeping Shabbos, they start eating kosher, they think about other things. You know, you see an improvement, there's something. There's 50-50, yeah? אבל השאלה היא בנוגע למי, it says, but how, excuse me, but what about if we're talking about a person who the chances are 1 in a million, not 50-50. Some people, you can see the chance of 50-50, but some people, the chances are 1 in a million. Do you also have to go out to those people? Oh, very good. האם גם ביחס אליהם צריכה להיות הדברתו של הפנסאי? It says, do you have to give yourself 100% sure about yourself to go out for the maybe this guy has a 1 in a billion chance to improve himself? Do you still have to? ובמיעוט זה ישנם שני סוגים. In this מיעוט, there's two. In this minority, there are two types. עניות, it says, אין עני אלא בדעת. The first poor person, it says the reason why poorness, what is poor? Poor means he doesn't have any knowledge. שזהו הקצה היותר תחתון. ועשירות, and then there's also the other side, being rich. אין עשיר אלא בדעת. Rich is also when it's talking about knowledge. When it comes to poor and rich, when the Torah is saying the words poor and rich, it means spirituality. It means poor in knowledge or rich in knowledge. שזהו הקצה יותר עליון. וזה תוכן השאלה, and this is now you're going to understand the conversation between the Chassid and the Rebbe. The Chassid came to the Rebbe and he asked him, how can you tell us to go out into the world and busy ourselves with other people, to go out to China, to go out to these people, where is a doubt where we can change them? So the Rebbe tells them, excuse me, I'm not telling it to you. It's not me telling you. Look at the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe says, what's a Chassid? Someone who's taking out, is willing to harm himself in order to help another. And then the Chassid tells him, yeah, but is there a limit to it? If you know almost 100% sure that it's not going to help the other guy, and you think that yourself is going, you know for sure for yourself it's going to help, do I still have to go and waste my time 100 hours on him instead, and almost 100% it's not going to work, and work on myself instead? Umayim apanas, this is what the question is, when the Chassid asks the Rebbe, Umayim apanas nimtza bamidbar shamem. What if there's this candle, you're going to find it in the middle of the desert, or shenimtza bayam, or that is found in the middle of the sea. The middle of the sea is going to be a problematic one. We're going to see soon. What does it mean? Shem shnei hamatzavim shel aniyut, that there are two matters of being poor and being rich, being poor or rich. האם גם אז ישנו החיוב ללכת להדליק לעיר אותם? Do you have to light them also when the guy is poor in knowledge or rich in knowledge? Which we are not quite sure what it means yet. So let's look at page 12. Midbar Shamem, it is a desert. We all live in Tucson, so we know what a desert is. מדבר הוא ארץ לא עבר באיש ולא יושב אדם שמה. A midbar is a place where no man can settle. So Tucson is on a desert according to Torah, because it's a settlement. If you go on the way to Los Angeles, you see all these places. That's a desert.
Go to Sahara.
Go to Sahara. Go to Sinai.
Sinai.
Yeah, that's a desert. היינו שכל מי ששייך למין האנושי, אפילו הפחות ביותר, which means anybody who's a human, even the lowest one, אינו יכול להתקיים במדבר שמן, cannot live in a deserted desert. ומבזה מובן מעמדו ומצבו של מי שנמצא במדבר שמן. So now we understand when we say, do you have to go out to the desert? What's the desert? A place where there's no spirituality at all. A place where there's no spirituality, רוחניות, הוא ריק מכל מעלה. A person who is completely not interested. He's not interested in spirituality at all. אני בדעת בקצה יותר תחתו. He is a person who is only a physical person. He only cares about wine and women. Nothing else he cares about. אין בו לא תורה ולא חוכמה. He's not interested in spirituality. He's not interested in Torah. He's not interested in science. He's interested to live like a dog. That's his goal in life. לא מידות טובות ולא דרך ארץ. He has nothing. נשאלת איפה השאלה, so you have the question, do I also have to go out and waste time on him? On such a person? The guy is a mafia boss. He kills around people all the time. He's sitting in jail for I don't know what. You know? Do I have to go out to him also to waste my time on him? ומה כאשר הפנס נמצא במדבר שמם? It says, what if the light is in the desert? כאשר פוגשים אדם כזה, when you meet such a person, ומדברים עמו פעם אחת, פעם שנייה, וכמה פעמים, you talk to him 100 times, ורואים שהוא במעמד מצב של בריאות בעלמא. You see that he's a level of a dog. He's not interested in what you're telling him. He's not interested to become spiritual. He's happy the way he is. ואף על פי כן אינו רוצה לשמוע מה שאתם אומרים. He doesn't even want to listen to what you talk to him. האם גם אז ישנו אחרי יונק את הפנס? Do I have to go out and waste 100 hours on him now? On such a person? והמענה הוא, and the answer that the Rebbe Rashab gave the Chassid, שגם כאשר הפנס נמצא במדבר, even if this person is in a complete desert, if this light is in a desert, completely desolate, the guy is not interested in spirituality, he's not interested in Judaism. צריך ללך ולהדליק את הפנס. You have to go out there and you have to light the candle there. וכפי שמביא רבנו הזקן בתניא שם, it says, just like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, שגם בנוגע לבריות בעלמא, even a person that the only good thing you can say about him, there's nothing good about him. The only good thing you can say about him, that God created him, that's the only good thing. Also, such a person, ישנו הציווי, אוהב את הבריות ומקרבן לתורה. It says you have to love him and bring him closer to Torah. Some people learn it completely the wrong way. They learn it, bring him closer to Torah because you love him. No. Love him.
The way he is.
The way he is.
Without the Torah and mitzvahs.
That's what he says.
Against Hashem.
You
How
show
can
him.
love somebody that
You
goes
show
against
him
Hashem?
love one time, a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time. He'll become warmer and warmer and warmer, and after a while, he'll be able to accept what you say. Says, talk to him once, love him the way he is, and love him again the way he is, and the guy still does everything wrong. And continue to love him, and continue to love him, and 100 times, and he's completely the same thing. Love him more. Love him more, love him, love him, love him, love him. סדר הדברים אינו באופן שתחילה מקרבן לתורה. No, you don't first bring him to Torah, and only then you love him. ואחר כך באהבה, and then comes the love, אלא להפך. It's the opposite. שתחילה צריך למשכן בחבלי אבותות אהבה. In the beginning you need to really love him, וסוף כל סוף תהיה גם העבודה מקרבן לתורה. And then there's going to be מקרבן לתורה. I'll tell you a story that I heard a couple of months ago from a good friend of mine. He had an old person that used to come to shul. To his shul, there used to be a reform shul where the guy was. But then all the reform shul guys died. So he had no choice. He used to come to the Chabad shul. But he used to tell the Rebbe, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. So he used to tell him, so why do you come to shul? He says, because I'm a Jew. You know, a Jew, that's what he does. He comes to shul. So he used to come once in a while, not even often. But he used to come, but he had a relationship with the Rabbi. And he used to tell the Rabbi, you should know that when I die, I'm going to get burnt. I'm going to burnt. So the Rebbe says, I talked to him once, I talked to him twice, I talked to him 3 times, I talked to him 4 times. And then he became, the conversation became, I saw he's irritated by me. I talked to him, he's irritated. No. So I said, I never talked to him about it again. And that's it. I never talked to him about it again. He was great. And he says, then he became sick. He became old, he became sick. The Rabbi used to come to visit him, used to talk to him, used to bring him soup, used to bring him this, that. Love him. Used to have a conversation, not Torah, just visit him. And so, when he passed away, the wife calls the Rabbi, and they said, you should know, just 2 days before he passed away, he came over to me, and he told me, I'm not going to burn myself. Make sure that the Rabbi buries me. So, and you say to yourself, this is an example of loving a person, and then it does something. It has to do something. You can see. You think it doesn't do anything. If the person knows the only reason you love him is because you want him to put on tefillin, that's something else. But here you love him because you love him, because he's a Jew. It changes him.
But how can you love a Jew that goes against Hashem? It's a problem, no?
You don't go against Hashem?
But
do you go against Hashem?
Of course.
Do you love yourself?
Yes.
Love him also, the same way. Exactly the same way we love ourselves when we go against Hashem. It's easy for us, right? We all the time go against Hashem.
It's very easy to go against Hashem and love myself.
Exactly, the same way.
I like myself.
Exactly.
But sometimes you do it yourself.
That's right. But usually we love ourselves. So the same way we love ourselves when we go against ourselves, against Hashem, love him when he goes against Hashem.
Ourselves easily.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's possible. I know it's hard, but it's possible. It's much harder when somebody else. Every time you cut somebody off on the highway by mistake, and the guy goes crazy, you say, "It's a mistake. Relax." But if the guy cuts off yourself, you want to kill him. It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Love him. Just like you love yourself. Love him.
The way it sounds like what you're saying is that if you want to help somebody transform, show by example. Be the person that...
More than show by example.
Love him.
Love him. Not just show by example. Don't show Judaism. You're thinking, show him how to be a Jew. No. Let go of him. Love him. Nothing to do with Judaism. Love him. But let's go on the other side. We don't have much time. Yeah. So the second question was the hard one. What if the lamp is in the middle of the ocean? Now we have the desert. What's the desert? The desert is a place of no Torah, no mitzvahs. The ocean is the middle of the ocean. It's a place of all Torah and all mitzvahs. So it says, what does it mean? So let's continue. Yam inyano be'avodat adam, an ocean, what does it mean in the service of God? Kema'amar rabotenu zal, just like our sages says, en ma'im el Torah. Water is Torah. V'inyan hayam, what is the ocean? Shu maleh mayim. It's full of water. It's a person who's full of Torah. היינו שלימוד התורה הוא באופן שהתורה שלומד לא נשארת בגלל מדף, אלא ממלאת את כל מציאותו. It has to fill his entire being. שכל מציאותו מלא תורה. That the entire being is full of Torah. שזהו מעמד ומצב של השירות בדת. This is called the person who's rich in knowledge. But it says there's a problem. יכול להיות מעמד ומצב, it is possible to find a person, שהאדם יהיה מלא תורה, that the person is going to be full of Torah, 100% full of Torah, ואף על פי כן לא תהיה בו יראת שמיים. And nevertheless, he doesn't have the awe of God. You can find people, not one, not two. Each and every one of us also has it inside of him, if you look deep inside. A person can learn Torah all day long, that's all he does, and he doesn't care about God. כפי שמובא באבות דרבי נתן, just like it explains in אבות דרבי נתן, הוא אמנם מלא וגדוש תורה, it says he is full of Torah, אבל זוהי תורה חשוכה ללא אור. But the Torah is in darkness, without light. Like the famous story with Acher, who used to teach Rabbi Meir. You remember? Acher used to be the teacher of all the sages. He used to be an apikoros. And as an apikoros, he used to teach Rabbi Meir. So he says, what do you mean? The guy, he's the teacher of one of the biggest sages. So he says, how? He's full of knowledge. But the knowledge, this is what it means, the Torah is in the city. The candle is in the middle of the ocean. But it's on the light. A person knows everything. He knows what the right thing to do is. He doesn't care. Like university. That's right. Like a professor in university can be a genius. Or like the first guys, the Chaim Nachman Bialik, for example. The guy knew more Torah than 90% of the guys, of religious people who learn all day long. He knew Torah. He learned in yeshiva. He knew it inside out. These guys were knowledgeable guys, but completely nothing. So he says, what do you do with such a person? How do you light his neshama? וזוהי השאלה, and this is the question.
Why do I have to take my clothes off?
Let's see. וזוהי השאלה, and this is the question. כיצד אפשר להדליק את הפנס שנמצא בים? How we're going to light the candle that's in the middle of the ocean? In other words, to bring him the awe of God. בא בשעה שהתורה בידו לא הועילה. It says, he has the antidote, the Torah, and the Torah didn't help. How can I help him? המענה על זה, so the answer is this, you don't take a boat. What do? צריך להפשיט את הלבושים ולקפוץ למים. You need to take down all the garments and jump into the ocean. What does it mean, jump into the ocean? אם ייגש אליו, if you're going to come to him, ויסביר לו באמצעות הלבושים, you're going to explain to him with your garments. You're going to explain to him through intellect. You're going to teach him Tanya. He knows Tanya better than you. He knows Gemara better than you.
He has better levushim than you.
He has better than what?
Oh, no.
You can't use your garments in order to influence him, because his garments he has better than your garments.
In the ocean, in the Torah.
That's right. לבוש המעשה, לבוש הדיבור, לבוש המחשבה, לא יצליח לפעול עליו. You're not going to be able to do anything to him. אבל כאשר יפשיט את עצמו. But you know what's going to happen? When that person is going to see it, you take off your garments, ויקפוץ לים, and you jump into the ocean. What does it mean, jumping into the ocean? Just like Nachshon ben Aminadav did. Mesirut nefesh, you're willing to die, you're willing to blemish yourself for the sake of other, or for him. אזי יפעול עליו על ידי עצם הפנימיות הנשמה. Then, when he sees your neshama revealed, that you're willing to endanger your neshama for him, שלמעלה לא... let's skip the brackets, שכן עצם אחד מגיע ולוקח את העצם השני, because the soul, your soul is going to grab his soul. Let's take an example that a lot of shluchim saw it, especially in China, especially places like China. You've got a lot of Satmar Chassidim who go to China. Business. They've got a lot of business. They buy stuff, they sell stuff, you know. And a lot of the Satmar Chassidim are not really religious people. On the outside, they're all religious. They don't put on tefillin, they don't daven, they don't do nothing. They're businessmen. So you ask, so why are you going through the charades? He's not going through the charades. His whole family, his whole life is within the Satmar community. If he's going to take the lookout, they're going to kick him out. He's going to lose his wife, his children, his family, his status in society. So he continues to walk like this. But they're not really, they don't eat kosher. So you've got a lot of these guys who go to China. And usually when they go to China, where do they go? They go to Chabad. The only place that they feel like home, at least for Shabbos, even though they don't care so much, but at least Shabbos, it's important for them, the holidays, so they go to Chabad. And many of them, not one or two, many, hundreds of them, when they see the shliach in China going and not having education for his kids, and he cares about education and not doing it, and he takes care of all this, and they see that he's doing this, that he can remain in the Satmar community for his entire life, he's not going to be awakened. But the fact that when he sees that there's a Jew who's willing to forget about himself, to jump into the ocean, to damage himself for the other, that touches him. See, you can't talk to him Gemara. He knows Gemara. You can't talk to him everything. He knows it. That's not the problem. His problem, he doesn't feel it. All of a sudden, when he sees your neshama a light, his neshama becomes a light. ובאותיות פשוטות,
he's serving them. The rabbi is serving them at his detriment.
That's right. And when he sees it, that awakens him. That awakens his neshama. ובאותיות פשוטות בין תורה שלא זכה, this is somebody who learns Torah but did not merit, אם ייגש אליו ויתחיל להתווכח עמו על פי שכל, if he's going to start arguing according to intellect, לא יפעל מאומה, he's not going to do anything. שהרי שכל היה לו, because that's not his problem, he has the intellect. גם בתורה שלמד, ואף על פי כן, מאיזו שיבה שתהיה לו פעל עליו, but it never affected him. אבל כאשר ייגש אליו, but when he's going to go to him, ויקח אותו מצד האהבה הפנימי, when he's going to love him, שיש לכל יהודי לחברו, that every Jew has to his friend, כמבואר בתניה פרק למד, שזהו לפי שעה אחד לכולנה, that he sees that this Jew looks at any Jew, even somebody who's not religious, he loves him. And that because he's awakened, the neshama is awakened, then his neshama is going to get lit. היינו שלוקח אותו על ידי אלוקות שיש בנשמתו, ובנשמת חברו, he takes him by the godliness that he has in his soul, and in the soul of his friend, then he's going to be able to light the candle that's in the middle of the sea, that nobody else was able to light.
And the reason that he had to take his clothes off, he has to show him an example. It doesn't go by talk, because by talk you have more Torah than you have more Gemara than you have everything more than you.
That's
so
right.
the only way
to show the soul itself,
and show
Mesirut nefesh.
Mesirut nefesh.